Build to Last by James Collins and Jerry Poros. They spent 6 years studying visionary companies. With an average founding date of 1897 and stock return performance of 15 times the general market since 1926, they are companies that have stood the test of time. They also compared each to a carefully chosen competitor from the same founding era. Their goal was to uncover the underlying factors that helped them outperform the competition. 1. Clock building, not time telling. If a person who could tell the exact time just by looking at the position of the sun or stars. Wow, what a remarkable person! Yet wouldn't it be more remarkable if that person built a clock that anyone could refer to, even after he had died? Visionary companies have clock building managers, whose greatest creation is the company itself. Though many visionary companies have had high-profile leaders like Henry Ford or Sam Walton, charismatic leadership is not necessary for success. 3M, for example, has never had a charismatic CEO. The best leaders, charismatic or not, make it a point to develop managers and processes. In their view, the firm is not a vehicle for products or personalities. Products are a vehicle for the company. Walt Disney's greatest creation wasn't Snow White or Disneyland. It's the Disney company and its ability to make people happy. 2. Go for the and not the or. They can be conservative at the core, yet progressive in their actions. In short, they aren't tyrannized by either or thinking. They concentrate first on the organization's systems and values, then on products. When HP got started, in 1937, it had no product in mind when they got together in 1937. They just wanted to start a company together. We did anything that would bring in a nickel, said Hewlett. 3. More than profits. George Merck too said, "We are workers in industry who are genuinely inspired by the ideals of advancement of medical science and of service to humanity." Merck developed a drug to cure a third world disease known as river blindness. It hoped to sell the drug to government and relief agencies. The return on investment would be small. When it came time to sell it, however, no one bought it. So Merck gave the drug away to the millions who needed it. Why give away a drug it took years to develop? It was, of course, good public relations that could pay off down the road. Competitor Pfizer, in contrast, didn't mention ideals until the late 1980s. Indeed, a former Pfizer CEO once said, "So far as is humanly possible, we aim to get profit out of everything we do." Visionary companies have core ideologies. This is who we are, this is what we stand for, this is what we're all about. These aren't just words, but vital shaping forces. For them, profit is like oxygen, necessary for life, but not the point of it. This attitude, paradoxically, can pay off in greater profitability. An ideology consists of 2 ingredients: core values and purpose. Core values are the organization's enduring tenets and guiding principles, the things that can never be compromised for financial gain or expediency. To come up with a purpose, ask, what is our reason for being? What would be lost if we cease to be? 4. Preserve the core, stimulate progress. Every visionary company needs a core ideology. But that's not enough. Visionary companies couple ideology with a relentless drive for progress that impels forward movement in everything but the core. Don't confuse core ideology with non-core practices or products. Boeing's core value, being in the leading edge of aviation, being pioneers, is permanent. Building jumbo jets is a practice that can change. Whatever your business, strategy and tactics, operations, culture, and products must change over time. The only thing that shouldn't change is core ideology. Visionary companies don't wait for the external world to say it's time to change. They practice self-criticism daily. They make sure they change well before the world forces them to change. Mechanisms to implement the philosophies with observable behaviors. 1. Use BOGs to surge ahead. A great way to stimulate progress is to set big, hairy, audacious goals. BOGs. A good BOG is clear, compelling, and serves as a unifying focal point. It engages people by reaching out and grabbing them in the gut. The goal alone can't stimulate progress. You need to show a high level of commitment to reaching it. That sometimes involves a great deal of risk. Walt Disney invested most of his company's resources to create Snow White in 1934. People called it Disney's folly, believing no one would care to see a full-length feature cartoon. Compare Disney with Columbia Pictures, which did little that was bold, visionary, or risky. A BOG should be 1. So clear and compelling that it requires little or no explanation. 2. Fall outside the comfort zone. It should require a heroic effort. 3. So bold and exciting that it will continue to stimulate progress, even if leaders disappear before it's achieved. 4. Be consistent with a company's core ideology. 2. Cult-like cultures. Great places to work? For some. Visionary companies must be great places to work, right? Not necessarily. If you fit with the core ideology and demanding standards of a visionary company, you'll do fine. If not, you'll be ejected like a virus. There's no middle ground. 3. Try a lot of stuff and keep what works. Visionary companies make some of their best moves by experimentation, trial and error, opportunism, and sometimes by accident. J&J, for instance, primarily made antiseptic gauze and medical plasters. When it received a complaint about skin irritation from certain plasters, J&J began including a kind of Italian talc to soothe the skin. Customers started asking for the product, and the firm introduced Johnson's baby powder. Its success prompted J&J to get into the consumer market, a shift that eventually became 44% of its revenues. 4. Homegrown management. Here's a surprising fact: of the 18 visionary companies studied, only 4 times in a combined 1,700 years did one of them go outside the firm for a CEO. Visionary companies like GE develop, promote, and carefully select managerial talent from inside the company. That helps them preserve the ideals they believe in and ensure a long line of quality leaders. 5. Do better tomorrow than you did today. Never rest. Visionary companies don't ask, "How well are we doing?" They ask, "How can we do better tomorrow than we did today?" This question is a habit of mind and action in the best companies. It requires constant self-criticism and investment in the future for a race with no finish line. In the 1930s, P&G already had excellent people, products, and marketing muscle. How could it avoid complacency? P&G approved a proposal to create a brand management structure. This allowed P&G brands to compete as though they were from different companies. Here's how a few visionary companies create discomfort. Boeing uses eyes of the enemy. It assigns managers the task of developing strategy, as though they worked for a competitor, and wanted to wipe Boeing off the map. Walmart uses a beat yesterday ledger that compares store sales figures to the exact same day in years past. Standards thus rise year in and year out. Now, you have the framework and guidelines to build your company to make it last. Take the initiative and start making history. If you like the video, please subscribe for more valuable content.